Greetings, wrestling purists. So I am about 24 hours behind schedule here, but I have just finished watching World's End, and what a way to end this pay-per-view. The triumphant return of Kenny Omega, and of course Okada coming out on top for the Continental Classic. I knew he would. There's no way that they could have him be the champ all year and not actually win one of these tournaments, and great way to end this. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, there's more?
When you ride to die, to burn it all down. And you don't need no reason to bleed. You just do. Because you ride Dodge Ram Death Rider. Get 0% financing for the first 3 years, plus 20% off MSRP. Because when you stare into the abyss and find it staring back, it's time to ride.
What the hell is that? Anything but his freaking gear and his like greasy wet hair and whatnot is pretty awesome. But is this supposed to make sense? No. And in the end run, as much as Jim Cornette wants to diss it and people want to say this thing is going nowhere and what's going on, dude, the plumber looks good. Moxley looks like a badass. Him and Edge, this is gonna be great. They both look like Cro-Magnon, like freaking barbarians now. It's insane. Oh my lord. Anyways, let's get into it.
How do you like it? I'm a novice at this. I make a few mistakes.
Jushin Thunder Liger, the champion.
So we got Layla Gray coming out to take on Toni Storm here at the beginning of the 0 hour. And I like Layla Gray. She's pretty cool. She's been around a while, and mostly it's being able to remember her name. I know she's taken on Athena in ROH, and she's hanging out with the Top Flight boys, but she probably needs some more in-ring time. Her footwork, her timing is not that great. They don't tour AEW, so these guys, they don't get the kind of in-ring time that I think they should get. And I don't think they work the indies that much, at least not Layla. I'm not seeing her name around in that kind of a way. But people talk about Finn Balor and JD McDonough like they never defend the titles. They've been the tag champs for a year, but WWE tours. These guys are best friends, touring as the tag champs with a little under the table title defenses all around. They do their thing. They get their chops in the ring. I mean, Balor is of course a vet at this point, but I'm assuming you get my point. Layla Gray, she's cool, but she didn't look that great here. And in my opinion, she's not in the best of shape. Neither are the Top Flight guys these days that she hangs out with. They're not in top form, as it were. But they've both had nagging injuries over time. It's hard to get in the ring and get a routine when you're dealing with injuries. It changes what you're up to. But if she was in NXT, she'd get a lot more ring time. They'd certainly like get her cardio up, get her footwork. They'd have her running and rolling and hitting the ropes regularly. And she would probably be a lot better off over there. Although they'd probably give her some stupid ass name like Xanadara Dynasty or some shit, and I would have no idea who she is. At least Layla Gray, I can recognize the name, and I know she's been putting in the work. So it's good to see her here on the 0 hour, and we're gonna see her a little bit later. But you know, she screwed up a blockbuster, looked like she almost knocked herself out. So some more time in the ring for these guys would be great. But Toni Storm, returning as Toni Storm, not timeless Toni Storm, and I'm hoping this is her best performance to date. I'm hoping it's not just weird amnesia. I mean, Tony Schiavone's saying that it's the shock of losing the title, like screwed with her mind, and I don't know. There's lots of theories, but the theory I hope it is that timeless Toni Storm is putting on her best performance to date. She's gonna win the title from Mariah May or whatever and be like, oh, award-winning, Oscar-winning performance. Oh, the Toni. And coming in as a rookie, amnesia, and Deonna Purrazzo coming and talking to her and challenging her, pretending like they don't know each other. That's going to happen on Wednesday, that match for the simulcast, the Max simulcast that they are pushing hard for this. But Toni Storm with a roll-up victory here for Toni Storm, but that's pretty cool. And the 0 hour continues. And we've got my favorite guy in the world, Big Daddy Magic Matt Menard, 2.0, 3.0. I'm a huge Chikara fan, and I'm a Canadian, so we got from Montreal. I love these guys. Parker and Lovelace right now having a baby, or have had a baby. I don't know what's going on, but that's great. But good to see Menard here, one of the best talkers and best facial guys in the industry. So nice to see him on the mic here. They brought in Daniel Garcia and Mark Briscoe to do commentary at one point here for the 0 Hour. I mean, I don't have a problem with Daniel Garcia. I'm glad that he's getting his flowers, as it were, and he's got the championship now, but he does seem bland. Everybody is always saying, what do people see in this guy? Now, if I was a girl, I'd understand. I mean, like, I've talked to a few women who lay it on the line of why he is sexy and why he's good looking and the way he talks and his whole like thing, and men, they like it. You know, like the stoic, quiet, kind of like vulnerable but tough. Like they could break back the skin and see what's underneath, you know, but he's tough around the boys and he's cool. I don't know. Chicks dig him. And obviously some guys dig him too. He's probably a cool guy in the back. I haven't had a chance to hang out with the Red Death as much. We've met. The deal. Into the next match that happened here, QT Marshall and Jeff Jarrett, the best match on the show. QT Marshall finally getting his flowers as well, people seeing what a genius he is, and of course, man, Jeff Jarrett. I love Jeff Jarrett these days, and I love seeing Sanjay and Satnam in the back and Jay Lethal coming out. The TNA guys, they missed the boat with the TNA originals putting the tag titles on them a while ago. Like, Jarrett was so over, and I loved when GCW did the last Outlaw gimmick. Like, I feel like that's when they brought it back. Before it was in between WWE and before he went back there, I don't know. There was some timing where he was in between stuff. And he came out in all black, and they took that that beginning of his theme song and like looped it with some weird shit underneath, and it was like, it was fucking cool. He just did a couple shows for GCW, but here as a babyface, at his age and the way it's going, of course it has to be babyface Jarrett. And this match, it was not an AEW match. It was drop down, headlocks, fucking leapfrogs, all that stuff. QT Marshall looking a little pale. I hate to be a Eric Bischoff here, but looking very not tanned, and even looking kind of like a little shorter and a little thinner and wirier than Jarrett. Like, man, the wrestlers have definitely changed. Jarrett used to be one of the smaller guys. And I know as you get older, being someone that's worked out protein, steroids, who knows his whole life, Jarrett, you know, they get a little thicker around the midsection and shoulders and, you know, the face and jowls. But I don't know, it didn't look quite right to me here. But Jarrett, who came out with the win here? I can't even remember at this exact moment. Doesn't matter. I think it was Jarrett. Of course it was Jarrett. And then he went into, dropped it back. But whatever, we're getting off track here. Jarrett, I love Jarrett. Loved this match. QT Marshall, let's do it. We're going to keep going. Best part of the show happened in here somewhere as well, where Matt Menard was getting harassed and called by Eddie Kingston throughout the show, probably because he could see his phone on the table. And it's just the YouTube 0 Hour, but getting harassed, absolutely awesome.
Eddie Kingston was just calling you on the phone.
They did, and I put him on mute, Eddie.
Thank
Don't call
God.
again.
Thanks, Eddie. What do you think?
Unprofessional.
Tony Schiavone also got a text from his wife throughout the show at one point and was not pleased about it. So chaos with the phones here tonight, and the chaos is going to continue. Oh, one more thing here. Let's throw in an edit. Remember, I'm a novice at this.
How do you like it?
Private Party will be taking on these guys for the tag team title sometime in the future, maybe at the simulcast or on Collision. That might have been the whole point of this match, so congratulations to them. But the jewelry, what's with the jewelry, the necklace and the earrings? In my opinion, you cannot be a credible pro wrestler if you are wearing earrings and jewelry. Give me a break. And you're going to see that coming up here with the polka shell chain or something here on Kyle Fletcher. I don't know.
Big mistake!
So we start off the show proper with our first semi-final match here from the Continental Classic. Best friends, now bitter enemies. Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher.
They were good friends, McMahon, but they'll make better enemies.
Now, I met Fletcher last year at an AEW show backstage, got a great picture with him. I told him directly to his face, I think he's going to have a better career than Ospreay. He's at the right place, the right time, the right age. He's exactly what a growing boy needs as far as promoters, what a growing promoter needs. He's a big boy. I think he's going to be the WrestleMania main event out of the two of them if it's only going to be one. I think he's got everything going on, and he's just at the beginning of his career, and this heel turn was a great idea. And we start off with a cacophony of kicks, cutters, and dives, all deftly dodged by our daring duelists.
Wow.
And in many ways, that was the story of this match, the fact that they were evenly matched, but that Fletcher, his youth, his size, everything, just proving to be the edge that made it look like he was superior to Ospreay. But in the end run, Ospreay, even though he was bleeding like a stuck pig, did come out with the victory. Now, these guys obviously know each other very well. Lots of counters throughout. We go outside the ring trying to throw Ospreay into the stairs. He jumps over, jumps back, Hurricane Rana, reversed into an apron power bomb. Brutal. The beginning of selling many injuries in this match for Will Ospreay. Now, even though backstage I told Kyle Fletcher that I think he was better than Ospreay, his career might be on the better path, this guy in the audience does not agree. He thought Ospreay was better, and he was ready for when Fletcher came and ripped up the sign, one of the best parts in this match, because he came out with an Ospreay still better sign. So congratulations, my man. The Boy Scouts would be proud of you. Now, being lawn darted into the barricade earlier left Will Ospreay with one hell of a gusher, and he's gonna have this blood all over his face all night. It's still ringed around his eyes during the main event like a goddamn raccoon. Fletcher licking Ospreay's blood off his hands, but he's no Hangman Page. I mean, he's not literally drinking blood. Didn't he put the blood in the syringe and drink it? Or I don't know what he did, but you still got a ways to go, kid, but you're on the right track for an AEW superstar. It doesn't take long for us to realize exactly how much blood Will Ospreay is losing here. This is not pretty at all, and a hell of a way to start this pay-per-view. I mean, there's blood all over the canvas. As he's leaving, he leaves smears of blood on the set and the entranceway on his way out. So Cornette's gonna have stuff to say. He's gonna, why you doing the outside, the stairs, the blood? You've ruined the whole pay-per-view right here at the beginning. You shot your load right away, kid. Way to go.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
This does not slow Ospreay down for long, though. The comeback is hot and heavy. Stun Dog Millionaire, standing Spanish Fly, lots of counters of power bombs back and forth. Ospreay finally connecting with the Oscutter, but only a 2. This match is gonna be a slog. Fletcher rebounds off of Poison Rana and gives a hidden blade of his own to Ospreay. I love that Ricochet and Fletcher and other people are starting to make this move the norm, and that's something that's really cool in wrestling. A move comes in and over time it becomes the norm, and you go back, it was never around before. I mean, they never even used to tap, and then you got vets saying things like pile drivers and Canadian destroyers and DDTs now are meaningless because they've been used so much. There's an argument there. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're right. I in fact, in many ways, I agree with them. But I like how when a move gets brought into the world of wrestling, how guys adopt it. Very Cody Rhodesy. Like, basically, like, if I fought you 2 or 3 times, I can now, like, start to use your moves. Like, that's the rules, all right? Cool. You and me, we're cool? I can use your finisher now? Boom. Nice.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
The Billy Goat starts actually acting like a goat as they have a headbutt off here, just headbutting each other like Shibata styles. I do not like this very much, but hey, it's not my body. I'm just here to watch it. So, hey, I'm all for it. Kill each other. I love the super kick mid-diving headbutt here. That was great. And of course, the referee noticing that Kyle Fletcher was using the ropes and breaking up the pin. Another nice touch there we don't see, I think, often enough in wrestling. But one thing we should never see in wrestling is putting your hands on the ref. No, no, no. Bad news, Kyle. And of course, this leads to his downfall as he takes a hidden blade from the originator himself. Nobody does it better. Fletcher avoids a second hidden blade by pulling the ref in the way and gets a very close near fall with a brainbuster and a massive Liger bomb. This match has been an absolute war, and one more attempted brainbuster is turned into a Hurricane Rana and into a Styles Clash, giving Ospreay the win here with one hell of a move everybody loves, the Styles Clash. Will Ospreay is now a finalist in the 2024 Continental Classic, and he lets Kyle Fletcher know that they are now one apiece. I smell rubber match, but Will Ospreay has other things to think about. In a surprisingly good mood, lightheaded from all of his blood loss backstage in an interview later, but we'll get to that and more matches to come. It is time for our second semi-final match. Ricochet coming out here. Total change of attitude lately. I gotta admit, I love Ricochet's theme music. It gives me a very like Bruce Timm, Justice League, Batman animated series kind of vibe, but that like those later years, like Superman and JLU and things like that. I really dig it. And of course, he kind of dresses that way too with his entrance gear and things like that. Forgot to mention earlier, Kyle Fletcher looking very Shawn Michaels coming out. Absolutely love that. And the name, the Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher. So that's pretty cool. Round and bam, got cut off right there. And then Okada in charge, looking to build up for something big, but then just stopping and patting his bald head. Okada's been doing the whole spread his arms and the camera go back, the Okada pose, and he's been doing it in America. He's been doing the finger. I think they should probably zoom in on it because it kind of looks stupid when he goes boom and the camera pulls back. I don't know. You're pulling back on this thing that you want to see. So I think they should pull in. If you are a New Japan fan, you know that Evil, everybody's favorite New Japan star, Evil, although dude's dating, married to Kairi Sane, so hey, he's got to be cool. I bet you he's the coolest dude around. But guys that come off as shit characters in the ring and don't care that they're getting booed, they're usually cool guys outside the ring. But anyways, the way when he does his intro and they say his name, the camera zooms in on him, but it does like a shaky thing. It goes like shake, 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 and then comes in on him. They should do that with Okada, like boom, boom, right in on the finger. That would be great. But speaking of great, this match was pretty darn great. And a lot of that had to do with the crowd. I mean, when he stopped and patted him on his bald head, there was a absolutely deafening ovation. And of course you got the na 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 na, hey hey, you're bald. I love that one. But Okada getting pulled out of the ring almost low blow style, and then a massive suicide dive, Ricochet taking him out. Ricochet takes control here for a majority of the match. He gets cut off once or twice, like spike DDT, things like that. But standing shooting star, top rope shooting star, can't quite seem to get the 3 count on Okada and starts to get frustrated. I think Ricochet's like kind of big in Japan, made in Japan type finisher is called Vertigo, but Okada goes for a Rainmaker. They counter each other back and forth, ending with the Vertigo, which leads to a shooting star press, once again only getting a 2 count for Ricochet. I was saying earlier that Ricochet was getting frustrated, but it's more arrogance, an arrogant cover, an arrogant attitude, not just what he said in the past, but this heel Ricochet, I am really starting to like it, and he was kind of simmering away with that attitude until he got cracked with the classic Okada dropkick right to the face. Ricochet going for the spirit gun a second time and failing. I don't like this whole gun in the corner thing, what with Finn Balor, Prince Devitt starting the Bullet Club thing, and there's been a lot of like gun-oriented things lately. Kenny Omega does the boom. I don't know, just drop it, guys. Come on, it's not that inventive. Be different. It's not soon after this that the Rainmaker is connected, one shot and done. Ricochet, it's over, but a good showcase for his new heel persona, and of course, giving us Ospreay and Okada later on in the evening. Now here comes Swerve Strickland. I like this. A lot of people said that it was stupid, that the toilet paper thing, it's dumb, but I mean, come on. You can't be a villain all the time. There are many different types of villains, right?
There are many subtle levels.
You can't be breaking into people's houses and threatening babies full time. Like, I think this was good low-level heel, kind of ribbing your friend Nana out there, giving the toilet paper around and dancing and like, wait, I'm not done yet, and giving him out. Ricochet sure sold his frustration and embarrassment, but this was pretty good. And obviously, this is probably going to lead to a fight between them. And this is the problem I have with Tony Khan's booking. The same problem I have with, I was saying, like the whole thing in the corner with the gun. Like, let's get original. Tony Khan is not as original as he thinks he is. He loves wrestling. He knows tons about wrestling. He's passionate. Swerve Strickland. Whereas I think this could lead to gentle ribbing, and maybe the match that happens leads into a friendship, a partnership of some sort. Ricochet needs something, and Swerve sure looks cool. Ricochet looks cool. We got Hobbs back in action right now. They would be great to get together, some kind of faction to fight against the Hurt Business. Let's say Hurt Business can go either way. They're certainly going to get a lot of fans. It's going to be hard-pressed to boo Swerve and Hobbs. People love them as well, but I don't know. And if this does turn into a feud, what about getting Ricochet with just Hobbs, like a heater? Like, I think Ricochet could be more. But faction warfare. These guys should be friends. And Swerve should have like the new mogul affiliates. Get something going on that's not as lame as that was. Although being an island to himself, just him and Nana so far has worked out pretty well for Swerve Strickland. Probably the hottest guy in the company. But big win for Ricochet if he fights Swerve, beats him, gets over, tries to get into contendership, pushes the heel persona, maybe gets a heater, cheats to win. I mean, there is potential here, but Ricochet's not the best talker. So, like, I bet you when you're chilling with him in real life, he's probably like pretty snide. He probably has some quips. He's probably a cool dude. Like, he needs to channel that persona instead of being like, I'm Ricochet and I'm here and blah blah blah, and like trying to give lines to the camera and be something, trying to be a wrestler, be Ricochet. Like, don't be Ricochet. Be Trevor. He's calling you Trevor. That's the new diss. The fans are gonna start calling you Trevor. Dude, be Trevor. I bet you Trevor's a fucking asshole to the 9th degree. Like, I know Lindsay Dorado, and he'll tell you right to your face that he's not a nice guy. He doesn't like people. He can be kind of like snarky. He'll leave you on red like every time, and he admits it. And I really like Lindsay. He's a cool dude. He does not sweat shit. He's gonna live forever. Low resting heartbeat. You know what I'm talking about? That's what Trevor needs to do. Make us hate you. Make us love hating you. Look at what it's done for Jeff Jarrett. Anyways, next match here. Promo time.
I have something to say.
Here we go. Funny guy Will Ospreay, is there something on my face? Having an interview here with Renee Paquette and acting very lightheaded as though he has lost a lot of blood. So this is great. Infectious, hoping that the crowd will get behind him. He's lost 8 out of 10 matches to Okada. So I love this. Will Ospreay has endeared himself to me so much. I've been a huge fan for years, going all the way back to his Brit Rest days. And I know how he talks, but somehow when he got on the mic in America, that cottonmouth Essex accent, I was like, ugh. And it's not like I haven't heard the guy talk a lot in the past, but somehow it was weird for me when I saw him on AEW at first, but now I'm absolutely adoring it. And great fun little promo here, and nice to see that Will is alive and kicking still. Next match coming up here, Thunder Rosa against Mariah May. Probably a match we didn't need on the card. Tijuana Street Fight, or Tequila Street Fight. What is it called again? Thunder Rosa, who I'm very glad is back, taking on Mariah May. A little bit lackluster so far, her title reign, since taking it off of Toni Storm, who's probably going to come back and take it from her. And if I have my way, as soon as she wins, she'll be like, oh, that was my greatest performance ever as the young upstart Toni Storm, and be right back into the timeless. But obviously we want women's matches. We want more women's wrestling, right? But I'm not that into hardcore women's wrestling myself. I don't like seeing them get hurt. I don't like when they try and push themselves too far. They don't have the upper body strength for being put through doors and all kinds of stuff like that, and tables. But hey, hell of a match here, Thunder Rosa. That spot going up the table, man, I thought it was gonna break for sure, Botchamania time, but she pulled it off. That the lighter weight of the women, where they don't sometimes go through the tables, it assisted her here as she wanted to pull a Shelton Benjamin and run up the table and deliver her move. But let's check out this match move by move right now. Thunder Rosa attacks first as Mariah May is outside, taunting Thunder Rosa's father, who's at ringside. She has brought a piñata and a black bag that is filled with Mexican dirt, graveyard dirt. Rosa's sweet papa brought those items for her, I believe, so that's why Mariah May is in her face, but quickly back in the ring and in control is the AEW Women's Champion. It's plunder time! Thunder Rosa goes outside the ring looking for all kinds of weapons to attack her opponent with, and Mariah May is having none of it. Garbage cans, no sir. She is on her way up the ramp. Thunder Rosa gives chase, and at the top of the ramp she receives a DDT and gets some tequila spit in her face. That's what they say it is, but that's a lot of tequila to have in your mouth, and it kind of just looks like brown iced tea. But I love the barrio look of the stage with the lowrider bicycles and whatnot. Currently, what are the Tonga guys? Tonga Loa. He was Camacho back in WWE, and they used to come out with the lowrider bicycle. But I love this whole shtick here, and chaos continues to ensue on stage. Down at the bottom of the ramp, Mariah May takes a bottle to the face and then somehow rallies a comeback here with a headbutt and a knee to the face before Thunder Rosa takes over once again. That's right, one Death Valley driver later, and it's time for the goodies. The piñata is broken open, and we zoom in to see that it is the classic Tax. But as it is with the quantum universe, she who smelt it, dealt it. The person who sets up the table is always the one to go through the table. And of course, Mariah May plants Thunder Rosa right down on the tax before going outside and harassing Thunder Rosa's father, who later on MJF calls Yosemite Sam. I don't think he knows who he is. And he's just like, hey, shut up, Yosemite Sam. I love it. Mariah May is deciding to get sick now. She stole Thunder Rosa's dad's cane. I thought she was going to use that. But instead, she wraps some barbed wire around her knee, goes for the running knee strike, but ends up hitting the steel steps instead. I mean, have you ever stubbed your toe, or as you're on your knees working, doing something, and you accidentally get your knee on a little rock, or heaven forbid, a tack or whatnot? Yo, that's gonna hurt. She probably got some barbed wire in the tip of her knee, writhing in pain. It's the paper cut, it's the toe stub of wrestling, it's the little things. Ouch, 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 ouch. Just thinking about it drives me nuts. We then have that fun ramp table spot I was talking about earlier, a drop kick to the mush for Mariah May before getting thrown in the ring and choked out with a chain. They're getting serious now, but she turns it around and ends up using the dirt from the graveyard to blind Thunder Rosa, and then it's definitely New Japan, American style New Japan, because we're outside giving a tombstone, or rather just a standard pile driver, sit out pile driver off the apron through a table. And thank God it's an American table, because those Japanese tables, they do not break. These ladies are way too lightweight for for that. But this leads to the victory for Mariah May, still AEW Women's Champion. Okay, so this match. What to say about this match? The Dynamite Diamond Ring on the line. Nobody's ever won it but MJF, and he should win it here. He did win, and he should be beating Adam Cole at this point. What to say? I mean, you could go on and on about this feud, how long it is, how dead it is, how good it was, how unfortunate the injury was, MJF filming movies, how they could have spun it at first, how they did. I mean, we could go on and on. It could be its own podcast. I'd love to get a roundtable together. I've thought about it. I have ideas of what I would have done that would have been different. Once again, I feel like Tony Khan's sometimes very simple in his booking, not as creative as he could be, and this match is almost a prime example of it. He just won't let go of storylines, like the same thing that's going on with Christian and Edge. I know this is gonna play out in like almost an obvious or lame way, but this match, a great dichotomy, but very weird going into it. I mean, MJF basically looking like the Red Hulk. He's so jacked and tanned, and freaking Adam Cole looking kind of skinny and pale with his like straggly, dirty hair, and everything about the match was odd. Yes, they did moves. They beat each other up, and MJF won. Adam Cole got bloodied at one point, got hit into the pole. MJF giving the fans the finger, and like even the little dot that he got from it, and then like working on it, and then he tried to go for a Panama Sunrise, and he tweaked his ankle, and then he got the chalk block, and they worked on it, and just everything just seemed so generic. And even more blood, MJF getting blood himself, Panama Sunrise, and the boom, and the close 3 count, and then the shenanigans with all the boys. And I don't mean to be down on the match in general or Adam Cole. And don't get me wrong, I love Adam Cole. I always have. I love old NXT Undisputed Kingdom. I love ROH, the Sinclair days, and before that, I love watching Matt Taven come up as part of the original Kingdom, and then Adam Page coming in as their young boy as part of the Kingdom with Matt Hardy, and Adam Cole as a part of all that, and the Future Shock tag team with Kyle O'Reilly before Red Dragon. This is the stuff that I grew up on and I love. But this is not it. I don't know what's going on. This match did not do it for me. Shenanigans in the end run with the diamond ring to the face, and Kyle O'Reilly making his return, but Roderick Strong running down to the ring. I thought it was Wardlow at first. Where the hell is Wardlow? What is going on there? Is he injured or something? I don't know, but I mean, they could have made Wardlow the devil. I mean, sure, he was big compared to some of the scenes that they had cut beforehand in vignettes, but they could have done anything other than what they did do. But Roddy getting a huge ovation as he ran down to the ring, and the high-low on MJF. I think there was a bit of a tease there that Kyle O'Reilly, who also came out, might have been turning on Cole, but all of them together in the end run. This is great. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with these 5 guys. It seems played out, the Undisputed Kingdom, the Undisputed Era, all of it. Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly, man, they would make a great tag team if you really pushed it. Imagine them with the tag titles and no convoluted like heel stuff or being weird. But Roddy right now, I have loved Roderick Strong forever. And the whole Adam, the character where he had like the dyed mustache and the glasses, that was like the best stuff he's ever done. And I'm going to say it right now. I want to make an entire video on this, but let's put it out on the table. Why is Roderick Strong not in the Death Riders? I can't even say that. YouTube doesn't want you saying those words. They prefer D-Rider, even though I don't know how YouTube doesn't see how the D-Riders isn't somehow worse. But Roderick Strong should be in the Riders. I mean, come on. He needs to ride. I mean, we all know that Moxley's married to Renee Paquette. They talk about it openly. Yet she's always hanging around. Marina Shafir's always right by him like his bodyguard. Wouldn't it be great if Roddy Strong was in there? Like, if he still had like the dyed stuff and was still in there suplexing guys and being a complete freaking psycho and a shooter. Imagine him being like a little gremlin, like standing there behind her, or like on his knees and she's behind him, like brah. And like, get Wheeler Yuta out of there. I love Yuta. I love you, buddy. But I don't know, like, you look cool. You just don't look like that kind of cool. You look a little more Daniel Bryan-y, I guess, the white t-shirt and whatnot, clean. I want to say clean cut. Even though you have long hair and a long beard, you still somehow look clean cut. I don't know what it is. And you don't, even when you have the fire in you when you're doing it with your face and trying to give your facials. I don't know. It's like, I just don't buy it. And I could see Roddy Strong in there. That would be great. Roderick Strong in the Riders. What is wrong with people? Get him away from this stupid faction. Let Kyle O'Reilly build Adam Cole back up after he's, oh, my girlfriend left me and my body's breaking down on me and the fans turn on me and people don't realize that I've had this neck issue, which is why I can't, lift heavy in the gym, which is why I have small shoulders and I don't look as big as everyone else. And, I've got melanoma, that's why I'm not tanning. Like, who knows? Like, let him bitch and moan. Let him Kyle O'Reilly build him back up. And O'Reilly can be like, you know what I've gone through? Like my injuries, my man, Kyle O'Reilly's gone through some awful stuff in the last little while. But Future Shock, bring that back. Future Shock can take on Taven and Bennett if you really want to have some kind of feud going on. But I don't know. The intertwined nature of these guys, this old school, we're old school ROH, like that's got the stench of that on it now. It's not cool anymore. They're starting to get old, and I don't mean just physically old in years, like the whole thing. Like they need to freshen up. And like I've already said a few times in this video, this is not it. Roderick Strong and the Riders! Come on, man! Can you imagine him and Claudio as a tag team? It would be awesome. And I love Pac. I love he lives his freaking gimmick with the greasy hair and the never, ever being in any clothes other than his gear on camera. I love it. But it seems like there's an issue. He's not on this show. He can't be there all the time. I don't know what's going on. But maybe keep all of them. Just get Roderick Strong in there. Come on, get him away from these guys. Put him in a main event scene, get him out there suplexing and breaking guys in half and doing what he does best. Sick kick to the face. Roddy Strong, the Riders, come on! The International Championship is on the line next. The title that I believe one day will be unified with the AEW World Championship. I'm saying it right now, it's going to happen one day. But Konosuke Takeshita taking on the returning Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs. I love Will Hobbs. And it appears that everybody else loves Will Hobbs too. But, starting off this match, shoulder blocks back and forth. Hobbs gets him to the outside and just clobbering Takeshita. It's a meat chance from the audience right off the bat. This is going to be a great match. And I think Hobbs is going to sell his leg, which is going to give his knee injury that he's coming back from. That's what's going to give this match that little bit of extra. But Takeshita coming out on top as he should in this match. And hopefully this was kayfabe and it was planned. I'm hoping that Hobbs isn't one of those guys that's going to go down the route of like an Ahmed Johnson, like recurring injury and can't really make it, can't have a long career, because Hobbs is awesome. Everybody loves this dude and I really want to see him go far. He would look great with gold around his waist, believe me. So as we're getting back in the ring here, we're going to have the beginning of Hobbling Hobbs. Takeshita takes him out knee first onto the apron, and then it's attacking the knee, ring post over and over. Very desperate offense from Hobbs, like just barely getting in across body and hobbling around the ring, hobbling Hobbs. So this is what I was talking about before, giving the match a little something other than just meat chance and having the fans, giving them a chance to get behind Hobbs. But I was actually a little bit worried. As somebody that runs a wrestling promotion, I'm still so susceptible and gullible to when I see guys get hurt, especially in my ring or in a ring. Oh, I'm like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, dude, I'm selling. And I'm like, oh, thank God. You're selling really well. You sold all the way into the back and like a good 5 or 6 steps into the back before I could even ask if you're okay. And they're out there signing autographs later, hobbling around. So hopefully Hobbling Hobbs is all an act, and he's going to have a nice long career ahead of him and a good long match here ahead of us against Konosuke Takeshita. It's all power moves from here, multiple clotheslines over and over, power slam, getting him up for a second one. It's reversed into the package pile driver, or like the Storm Zero, I don't know. Anyway, smashes Hobbs down onto his head and his shoulders. Only a 2 count there, and then it's back to the meat action. Double clotheslines battering each other into oblivion. Hobbs blocks a running knee after receiving a massive German suplex, and from here goes on the offense, power slam, huge lariat, somewhere in here gets a 2 count that was a falsie and a half. Believe me, I thought if you were gonna win, this is Jim Cornette, he's like, that's where you should have beat him, right there. That was your spot. He always says these guys go too long. The guy who was gonna win gets an amazing spot, gets the crowd right into it, gets him right there, and if you had gotten the 3 count, man, the pop would have been insane, but instead it's a kick out, and then a few minutes later you do something a little less impactful and you get the win, like your standard finisher or something. I'm like, Jim Cornette complains about that stuff all the time. That was your spot if you were gonna win, Hobbs, but unfortunately, you are not going to win, Hobbs. It's Blue Thunder Bomb time, and nobody does it like Takeshita, and Don Callis sells this like he cannot believe that Hobbs kicked out. But of course, as Simon Miller would say, this is the least devastating move in all of wrestling. But I think Takeshita's gotten a few wins with it, and he sure makes it look good. But Hobbs came out and just waffled him with a lariat. I think this might have been the pin, the falsie that really got me, because this was another attempted pinfall here. This was the one where he had both his hands on his chest. This was a pretty cool match at this point. The crowd was in a tizzy, and they've seen a lot of action up to this point in the evening, so good on these guys to get everybody into it. It's Meat Mania here, right pretty much at the middle point of the show. We still got a lot to go here, folks. Here's where Gullible Hutch is in full swing as they go up for the superplex and the awkward fall, selling the knee. It looks like they're gonna fall because they're off balance at first, and then it continues, it happens. You think that they recover, but then it happens. So maybe it was a sell, but he sure made it look good. It made it look real when you see actual botches from guys or mistakes or, lack of balance for a moment on the top. It's tough. Getting up there's not as easy as you think. The ropes are not as tight as you think all the time, especially as the night goes on. And so I thought this was real. And when they went up to repeat the spot after going all the way down to the apron, the crowd gave them a bit of an ovation for giving her. And they did give her a huge superplex off the top for Hobbs, landing center of the ring, and I do believe selling his knee after the impact as well, so really pushing this through the whole match. Running senton here from the champ, and then setting him up for the running knee again, but second time blocked, and this time into that massive powerhouse Hobbs spine buster. Been looking for throughout the match, first time delivered, and the crowd thought it might have been over here. Another massive falsie, but only a 2 count for powerhouse Hobbs. This is where they start to pull you in with the knee after a wonky looking power slam off the top, which once again looks all related to not having the strength in your leg and the balance to be able to get the guy up and over. He delivered it, but if he's selling, if this is fake, Hobbs is doing a great job of making himself look sloppy due to it. And now they're gonna take off the brace. Aubrey's gonna help him get off his knee brace here. They say he's trying to relieve the pressure. Whatever the reason is medically, it looks great when a competitor is writhing in pain and now taking off his assistant devices because he really just needs to get to the flesh and massage it and get it free. We saw at WrestleMania when Eddie Guerrero taking his boot off after being ankle locked so often, which of course led to the dirty pinfall roll up, but he's desperately taken off his boot, the swelling of the ankle. You can picture it as a fan in your mind with Eddie's selling and his desperation and the act of doing something you don't often see in a wrestling match. You don't see guys taking their tape off or their gear off very often, or their assistive devices like this. So I kind of like this, whether it was real or whether it was selling for the match. Either way, I dig it. Of course, this now leaves the knee vulnerable. The champ goes for it, chalk block, attacks the knee over and over, gets him in the standing front guillotine, which has gotten over a lot more in the last few years with Roman Reigns using it for a period of time. And of course, Richard Belzer, if you know what I'm talking about, he was knocked out cold on live TV due to a wrestler once. So devastating maneuver. And as Hobbs is slowly beginning to sell it, going out, Takeshita turns him around into the raging fire, slams him down, still champ, a hell of a match, and everything is as it should be in the universe. If we are really going to channel New Japan into this promotion as the American version, this is what happens in Japan. You lose, and just when you think you should win, you lose, and just when you think you really, really should do it, you lose, and then when you finally win, it's huge. It's like WrestleMania Cody Rhodes style, sometimes double. You want to take a look at Tanahashi against Okada, and Okada crying at Wrestle Kingdom and how many times he couldn't beat him. Or Will Ospreay. I thought this was going to happen with Fletcher tonight. I thought Fletcher was going to win, and this was going to be a Marty Scurll kind of thing. We can't talk about Marty Scurll these days, but Marty Scurll always beat Will Ospreay, and they took it everywhere where Ospreay could just not beat Marty Scurll. He was beating everybody. He's the most athletic, innovative, newest, hottest wrestler around, and he just can't beat this son of a bitch with his goddamn trench coat and his umbrella and all that stuff. It was great. I kind of loved it. I thought they were going to go that way with Fletcher, her. But like I'm saying, all is as it should be in our Americanized New Japan Pro Wrestling Company. Will Hobbs not getting the victory over Takeshita, but you thought he would, you wanted him to, and just that much more grizzled veteran stylings building up inside Hobbs for him to eventually get that victory. In Japan, it's like the more broken down your body is, the tougher you are, so the stronger you are. And being strong means something there, so thereby the better chance you have of winning, right? It all makes sense. It's now time to run back what might have been the female match of the year, and most definitely Mercedes Moné's best showing in AEW so far. It's the TNT Women's Championship. Chris Statlander is coming for the CEO. It's a very different vibe this time compared to their first match. I think the story of the first half of the match is just Statlander's power and her toughness. I mean, they exchange at the beginning, arm drag to the outside. Moné baseball slides her, and when she tries to jump out on her, Statlander just grabs her out of midair, walks up the stairs, body slams her on the apron. From there, it's power moves, and many pinfall attempts by Mercedes Moné. This is like Steamboat Savage. She keeps trying, but the power of Statlander time and time again. I mean, she just deadlifts her up into a power bomb at one point or something. It's constant power and kickouts and frustration building from Mercedes Moné. I think she eventually gets like a power bomb onto the apron on the outside, and then more for standard moves, double knees in the corner. This match was very impressive. These ladies should be very proud of themselves. At one point on the outside, pulling the apron off with them, and I forgot I was talking about the boot spot with Eddie Guerrero in the last match. Statlander, they pretend to get her foot like tied up or stuck in the lattice work, the trellis work of the ring, and she has to take her boot off. And once again, another near fall after that. Won't you just die, or something like that. A lot of passion from Mercedes Moné in this match. I was really digging this one. And it feels like Moné tried to pull out all the stops here. A lot of repetitive damage, like double knees to the back, and then the double knees Meteora into the turnbuckle in the corner, and then a backstabber, and then a 2 count again in frustration, and then like pulling her back into like the surfboard style like straight jacket choke. It was a little wonky looking, but just trying everything she can to put away Statlander, and she just can't get it done. We get another Meteora attempt here from Moné, and she's snatched out of midair, powerbomb down. We got a chaos theory. Stat showing her power. Almost everything Stat does is power moves. Moné's trying everything, submission, high flying, every angle. Stat is just power in this match. I'm loving it. Wow, here we are channeling some more Eddie. I completely forgot about all this when I mentioned it earlier about going for the 3 amigos, the 7 amigos, and a massive Eddie chant here, and some love from the audience, not only for Eddie, everybody loves Eddie, but also finally feeling it for Moné, finally getting those WWE vibes back, remembering why we loved her, and that it's not just all this smarmy character. Mercedes Moné is very good at making you believe that she kind of is this fucking bitch. Like, she kind of does feel this way. I mean, her interview with Stone Cold, where she's all like, I eat steak now. I deserve this, I deserve that. And even the reason she left, obviously some people think she was getting mistreated, or she got lied to about the opportunities that her and Naomi were going to get, or whatever your reasoning is. There are also the rumors that she wanted more money. She wanted Flair money. She wanted bigger money. Snoop Dogg is her cousin. She's on the Mandalorian. She's in Hollywood. She hangs out with hip hop stars. She is well known. I mean, Becky Lynch is out there on Family Feud, and there's like Star and Becky Lynch, and they all act the same. They're on TV. There are no major movie stars anymore. There's only Tom Cruise, right? You can only hit a certain level now. And these wrestlers, they're out there in the popular culture on a regular basis, and finally starting to feel that love we had for her when we were watching her come up and fight Bayley at the takeover in Brooklyn, and watching her become the wrestler right in front of our eyes and starting that revolution and making the women that we see today in the ring get the respect and validation that they have deserved all along. They don't want the supermodels anymore. We want these tough ladies kicking the shit out of each other. And Mercedes Moné was a huge, huge part of the beginning of them being taken seriously. And this character of her being a total selfish, self-absorbed, CUNT, see you next Tuesday. I think it really, really works. People don't like her, and she wasn't having the best matches, and it was taking forever for her to get in the ring, and these awful long promos and all this stuff. And speaking of awful long promos, like, well, maybe I should shut up. We're going on for a while here. You get my point. It's really nice to see these matches now back to back from Mercedes Moné and seeing the crowd react. And we're still on the Eddie kick here after the 7 amigos and the child chanting for Eddie. She's up to the top rope with the Eddie Frog Splash, but it's only a 2. It's package pile driver time. The package pile driver is back. Thank you, Kevin Owens and Stat busted it out here. And then they stand up and we're back to the New Japan styles. Flipper forearms back and forth in the ring, showing the strong style before basically tumbling outside the ring so viciously and aggressively that this is where they pulled the apron off I was talking about earlier. A very unique spot which led to the entire boot debacle, and I believe this leads into the finish of the match. Moné Maker on the floor. I had to go back and check the footage. So yeah, this is after tumbling out of the ring. Moné Maker on the floor. It doesn't look like Stat's gonna get back in, but Moné gets out. And this is where she ties her up into the ring and tries to get back in. She has to take her boot off, and she takes a Meteora to the face here. And this is where I actually thought they were going to end this match on a countout, which would be unique and would lead towards Stat getting another match still. Moné had to really try everything she could, like, why won't you die? Had to eventually get a countout. And even though she could heel out and say, I've already beat you twice, like, you don't deserve a shot, whatever, they could make this another match. Like, you could see how we could spin it into getting another match. And you know that the fans, after these 2 matches in a row, we would definitely be into seeing that. After the Meteora to the face, Stat somehow gets up with only 1 boot on. A huge F5 on the apron after blocking a strike, and then another F5 in the ring. They eventually get to a tombstone on the apron from Moné to Statlander, and this is the point where I really thought it was going to be a countout, just barely in at the 9. This is where the part I thought they were going to use this as a unique ending, everything I was just talking about a moment ago. This has been intense. We get the statement maker on, and she grapevines the leg STF style. Statlander gets to the ropes, and Mercedes Moné looks like she's gonna have a freaking aneurysm. Like, this is great, and the fans are into it, and this is what you need. This is a tough crowd and a long show, and they are doing a great job. This is what they are paid to do. It's all about emotion and passion, and this match is fabulous. You will never be champion, she yells at her, and Chris rallies back after being slapped and told your dreams never gonna happen, but she gets snatched up into an ankle lock. And from here, Mercedes Moné showing us that she's been traveling. She's been down in Mexico, she's been in Japan. She rolls her right up. It's like a crucifix style pin, and then she snags the leg there like Drago style. Absolutely awesome and extremely creative pin, which is what an audience like this wants to see. 1, 2, 3, and still the champion, Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné leaves the ring selling her pain and crying tears of emotion and satisfaction, doing her best timeless Toni Storm acting Oscar-winning performance. And she's an actor, of course, on The Mandalorian, so good job here all around. Huge ovation for Chris Statlander, and well-deserved. Hopefully Moné holds on to this title for a long time, maybe goes through a Julia Hart, and eventually gets back to Statlander, who will take the title. I don't know what's going on with Camille. Camille was the heater here for Mercedes Moné, and I feel like MJF, what happened to Wardlow? Like all the heaters for these guys, they just absolutely disappear at some point. So Camille was the one who was not the good investment. This is what everybody needed and wanted from this match and from Mercedes Moné. It's been a long time coming. They're paying her a lot of Moné. There's been a lot of criticism. Maybe it was a slow burn for her. I don't know. But finally getting what we want out of Mercedes Moné and this match. And this was absolutely fabulous. We don't need no Camille. We got Mercedes Moné by herself is enough. And it's now time for what we've all been waiting for. It's the finals of the Continental Classic. Will Ospreay against Kazuchika Okada. And you know, JD from NY, one of my favorite YouTubers, my hog commentary brethren, he was going off about this match. Not the match itself, but the steps. The fact that usually in these kind of round robin G1 style tournaments where they do brackets against each other like this, either the runners up, the first place and second place of Group A and Group B, they don't face each other, they face within the tournament. So A, first and second place of A face each other, and B face each other, or red and blue, whatever. And this time they've switched it at the last minute, supposedly, so that we would get this Ospreay Okada match. I don't know why. I wasn't actually following any of this stuff. It was new to me, but I saw him popping off about it just yesterday, and he is sick and tired of the Tony Khan bullshit booking. I mean, I'm not a hater like that, but I find that it's a bit like Tony Khan's a bit of a basic bitch when it comes to this stuff. And like, I'm all for convoluted storylines and reasons and explanations. Sometimes I think things make sense. I'm like, just have them do this. It makes sense. And people give me all these reasons why it doesn't. But as a booker, you know, often you do what you need. You work out of necessity, out of flights, injuries, you know, heat between competitors. There's always a reason why something happens. If you think it's a dumb booking idea, often it's not just because the guy sucks. But in this case, I'm starting to think that maybe Tony Khan is just a basic bitch. But JD from NY popping off about this, and JR from Ross coming in on commentary here for our last two matches, so that's nice. Will Ospreay starts off the match with his head all wrapped up, and it gets ripped off pretty quickly. I made some notes here. Let's see. Yeah, they have a bit of a strike exchange at the beginning. The bandage gets ripped off. Springboard from Ospreay, but he gets completely taken out off the top rope. Spike DDT on the floor from Okada, then puts him up on the apron. Spike DDT off the apron onto the floor on the outside, rolls him in, and then a third DDT on the inside, but not enough. A 2 count only, obviously. So this is the point where Okada rips off the bandages. He wears it for a little while himself, ripping, tearing, striking blows to that injury on Ospreay, and it's looking pretty gruesome at this point. Ospreay fights back at this point, suplex, phenomenal forearm, but it's not long before Okada is back in control. And I think that's the story of this match. Okada dominates throughout. They're not going to have Okada lose. He hasn't actually won one of these tournaments, even though he is the Continental Champion. And so it's pretty obvious that Will Ospreay has his comebacks, has his moments, but throughout a majority, like the first 75% of the match or more, it's the story of Okada having his number, Okada being fresher, stronger, and just dominating Will in many, many ways. Gets him up on the top turnbuckle, I believe, knocks him down with the classic Okada dropkick to the guy on the corner turnbuckle. Will gets his leg caught, wrenches his knee and his leg to the outside, and that is when Okada goes after him. Shin breaker on the outside, but you know, Will comes back. You got Oz Cutter off the barricade, then inside a regular Oz Cutter, and only a 2 count there. There's a bit of an odd maneuver here where Okada reverses a Stormbreaker into a neck breaker. I didn't think it looked quite right, but I actually think it's very ECW when moves kind of go awry and then guys fall down the wrong way. I kind of like it. It gives realism to matches like we saw earlier with Powerhouse Hobbs. Okada hits the big elbow off the top rope, and then we have the big Okada, whoa, into the finger. I already explained how I think they should be zooming in on that instead of zooming out. Rainmaker, but it's blocked, and Okada hits him with a classic drop kick, picking him up again for another Rainmaker, but that is also blocked and rolls through. Ospreay gets him into a Styles Clash, bam, 2 count only. The hidden blade attempt is then blocked. Another Rainmaker connects, a 2 count only there, and at this point Okada starts to uppercut Ospreay into oblivion until he just absolutely collapses. At this point, the claret is flowing again. The proverbial crimson mask begins. Okada in control, going for another Rainmaker, but Ospreay reverses it into a standing Spanish fly, and at this point, they kick it into high gear until the end. Ospreay goes for the Oz Cutter, but it is countered with a flying drop kick. A Rainmaker attempt is countered, and Ospreay hits him with a Rainmaker of his own, picks him up for the Stormbreaker. It is an incredibly close 2 count, and the fans are going ape shit. The building, it looks like it is absolutely rumbling, and Ospreay goes for the Tiger Driver, but it is countered. A Rainmaker connects from Okada, maintains wrist control, reverses out of a Stormbreaker to hit a final Rainmaker and become the Continental Champion for realsies, I guess, retaining the championship and becoming, I guess what they've been saying all night, the greatest tournament wrestler performer of all time, solidifying that moniker and making it his own, still Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada. We go up the ramp to the entranceway now, and Christopher Daniels is there, and what's old is new again. He says he's no longer an EVP, and the new EVP is the old EVP, and Kenny Omega makes his triumphant return. He gets in the ring. The crowd is super pleased with this, presenting the title to Okada. Obviously, lots of history here. They can tease it all they'd like. I thought this would be a great end to the pay-per-view, but guess what, folks? There is more. It's main event time, 4-way match, one fall to a finish for the AEW Championship, the World Championship. It's your main event. Everybody comes out. Jay White, I love Jay White, dressed in the white too. I love that Excalibur calls him a defensive wrestler, like a counter wrestler, and it's very true. I don't know if that's actually the style he uses, or if they just noticed it, or whatever. Bottom line is, it's pretty awesome. It's true. I love it, and I love Jay White, but he's not going to come out on top here tonight. Moxley coming out through the crowd with Marina Shafir, and finally looking like the badass that he always thought he was. I like the tight pants. He's super cut. Like before, he lost the weight after not drinking and looked very lithe and fit, but now he's not just in shape. Now he's like gaining muscle mass. Looks like very Cro-Magnon looking badass. Unfortunately has the earring. I don't like the earring. We spoke about that earlier. But looking pretty cool. Down to the ring. Orange Cassidy attacking, diving to the outside before Mox gets in. Everybody gets out, triple, quadruple team, or I guess triple team on the fourth guy. Everybody attacking Moxley like crazy. The Riders come to the rescue. We got Wheeler Yuta and Claudio coming through, pulling everybody out. We got a big brawl in the crowd while Moxley and Cassidy fight back at the ring. But eventually the boys come on back. Jay White and Hangman Page joining Cassidy to triple powerbomb Moxley through the announce table. And he gets a pretty bad cut on the back of his head from this, but Hangman betraying everybody, stopping the partnership, going on the offensive. At this point, we get a shot of Christian and the creepy little bastards in the patriarchy up there, looking very super villainish. And Hook, of course, in his own booth. We got a shot of him looking over at the patriarchy. They've got some business going on right now, but I would love to see something going on with like Taz and like your father figure, like something father related, and Hook, and I don't know, maybe get him in the patriarchy. I don't know what's going on with this, but hopefully this Christian storyline can stay fresh in some fashion. Christian doing the best work of his career, in my opinion. From this point, we've got a lot of exchanges, flying orange punches back and forth between all the competitors. Mox getting back in the ring, and we can now see all the blood dripping down the back of his head. Eventually, we have all 4 competitors down, a double down, a quadruple down, and when they all start to get up, Orange Cassidy, he can't hack it, and he falls back down again. So then we've got all 3 guys going at each other. Eventually ends with a dead eye at some point, I think, on Moxley from Hangman Orange Page. Orange Cassidy returns at this point and gives flying orange punches to all 3 competitors. Everybody's out. He's looking to pin Moxley, and the referee gets pulled out by Hangman Adam Page, that dirty SOB, and the crowd really reacts to this one. At this point, both White and Cassidy get bucked, shotted individually from the outside. Hangman gives it to him, and another dead eye to the champ, and he goes outside to prepare to give him a buck. He wants to buck the champ, but Wheeler Utah coming, making the presence known once again that the Riders are back from being shooed away by security after brawling outside. But he fights off Wheeler Yuta and he bucks the champ anyways, but gets rolled up by Cassidy quickly. Not too impressed with that. Low blow to Orange Cassidy before Jay White comes in and just gives switchblades to everybody.
I've made a mistake.
Blade Runner. Yes, I know it's called the Blade Runner. I'm sorry. And Marina Shafir tastes the Blade Runner. Soon after this, she gets in the ring and Jay White turns around and bam, snaps it. And the crowd absolutely loves that one. Where is Roderick Strong? Roddy in the Riders, baby, make it happen. But Wheeler Yuta, he had come out, stopped a pinfall attempt as well as the Blade Runner attempt earlier. He now makes his presence known. Bam! Huge Busaiku knee to Jay White, and this is the beginning of the end for the Switchblade. The referees are certainly woozy being pulled out of the ring and thrown every which way in this match. Moxley's taken advantage after the knee. Big Death Rider DDT, and Bryce Remsburg gets in there, shaking the cobwebs loose. 1, 2, 3, and Moxley is still the AEW champion, and this is going to lead into FTR and Rated FTR coming down to the ring, and Edge, Adam Copeland, returning to AEW. They all start to brawl in the ring. Copeland gets the upper hand, big spear, and then the classic crossface or crossmouth with the chair. He like breaks the bar off the chair and gives him the crossface, and Moxley cannot cope, and Claudio has to come in to the rescue. And this is when Copeland gets up on the ring apron, says, it's over, I'm coming for you. I can't remember the exact vernacular he uses, but he's like, what are they fighting against? What are the Riders doing? Like, what is all of this? It was really exciting at first when he said this is not your company anymore and they had something going on. I felt like maybe they were going to do something, but these kind of weird anti-authority and invasion kind of angles, they can be played out. But I thought Moxley might be fresh with it, but no. And now you've got Adam Copeland like, I'm the one who's going to defeat you. I'm defending AEW. And you've been there really for a cup of coffee. A lot of injury time, not that long. I feel like that speech, the rah-rah speech he gave after the CM Punk Ariel Helwani interview did a little bit of damage. It seemed a bit like too contrived and like altruistic. I don't know. And a lot of haters are going to say at the end, I think I said this earlier in the video, you're going to have Moxley and Copeland staring down WWE stars. You got Christian with the contract in the background. This is very, very WWE. I'm smelling WWE. But what are they fighting against? The Riders haven't really done anything yet. I mean, they've got a title. They got a title. And they're causing a bit of commotion. Like, it's not like they're really doing that much. Copeland calls Moxley a kid, it's kind of nice. It's a nice touch, saying, I've been doing this since you were in diapers, and he has been doing this a while. But I am kind of looking forward to this. These two Cro-Magnon-looking MFers. I mean, Copeland and Moxley right now, they're both in top shape. They're at that age where they've, like, lost all the baby fat in every single way, and they are just looking grizzled and mean. And this should be pretty good. Like I said, I'm into Moxley's look now. Before he was giving me Tommy Dreamer vibes with, like, the weird slacks and whatnot. He's looking cool now. This should be cool. We're gonna get, I think, 3-on-3 Moxley and the two. We're going to get Wheeler and Claudio. No Pac still, but they're going to take on FTR and Copeland, I think, for the simulcast on Max coming up this Wednesday. So by the time I'm done editing this, I'm already a day behind watching it. This will probably come out like at the same time as the simulcast. Who knows? But if you've been watching, thank you very much for sticking with us up to this point. So all in all, World's End, a great way to end the year. I'm not a hater. That was a fun pay-per-view. I'll probably be doing a lot more of this. Thank you if you've been watching, like I said, this long. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. It's weird running a wrestling channel. A lot of people do not subscribe. I think it's like 90% of our watchers don't actually subscribe to the channel, and we have certain videos and matches that like pop, and then other stuff stays stagnant. So help us out here. We are monetized. Follow us, subscribe, make a comment. The algorithm loves you. I've been getting asked to do reviews like this, so hey man, you get what you asked for. We were asking for this kind of a G1 style tournament in America, and you got it. And it's been a bit of a slog. Well, this has been a long video too, but thanks a lot. We'll be doing some more of these. And hey, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time here. I'm Hutch Henry's for Demand Lucha.